When this mother approached her baby's crib after hearing a loud, heartbreaking scream, she never thought she would come face to face with death. To this day, her story is still being told. A story that could happen to you too. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Newlyweds Roy and Vernita Rogers had always dreamed of having a large family when they married. They immediately set to work and were soon happy with the news that the wife had become pregnant. But fate decided otherwise. As it turned out, Roy and Vernita had not been able to have the joy of parenthood as they would have liked for a long time. Vernita told her husband 3 times that she had become pregnant, took care of herself during the 9 months of gestation, and even monitored her condition in a hospital. But all 3 times her babies died after birth. So after the death of their 3rd child, Roy and Vernita thought it might be their destiny never to have a child and decided not to try again. So they gave up the desire to have a big family. The illusions and the desire were gone forever. Somehow, the couple gave up. But after taking so much care of themselves, fate suddenly gave them a gift they had never expected. Vernita found out that she was pregnant again. And when Vernita learned of her 4th pregnancy, she was initially frightened. She didn't want to go through all the horror and anguish she had gone through before. But not only that, also the fear of losing the baby came at every second. But Roy convinced Vernita that this time everything would be all right. He believed in that, and probably this belief was what helped Vernita give birth to a healthy and beautiful baby girl named Stacy. The daughter became Fairway and Vernita the only meeting of life, and they even put aside some things to spend more time with their little girl. Roy and Vernita are not very superstitious, but after they had Stacy, they thought that everything good that happened to them was thanks to the little black cat that appeared in their house many months before. You see, just before she got pregnant, Vernita brought a little black kitten into her home. The woman found it on the street, abandoned, and she felt sorry to leave it there in the midst of danger, so she took it with her. The husband didn't object. At least someone would be waiting for him at the door of the house after work. And right after the appearance of the cat in their house, the spouses started to have a better life. And it is during that time that Stacy was born without any problem. As I said before, the couple wanted to spend all the time with their daughter, and even if they were not next to her. So they installed a camera in her room to be always aware of everything that was happening to the little girl. But it was not the camera that warned them about the danger hidden in the room, but the family cat. The feline, whom Roy and Vernita named Midnight, had become close friends with Stacy, and it was he who did something hard to believe in order to save her. You see, when Stacy was 6 weeks old, she became very ill. Roy and Vernita took her to the doctor, and at the hospital they were assured that the child had a common cold. The couple returned with their daughter. Vernita put her to bed and left her in her room, and she herself went to the kitchen to make something to eat. She had also received a visit from her parents, so she was distracted by them. And less than 5 minutes later, the woman saw Midnight approaching her. It was as if he was trying to say something. He climbed on her legs and got off. He did it several times, but she didn't pay attention to him, so the feline left. A minute later, Vernita heard a blood-curdling, heart-rending scream from that cat from her baby's room. But what happened? They asked. An alarm. Vernita ran, and at the same time, cautiously rushed to her daughter's room. In the meantime, she called Roy and her parents for help, and upon entering the room, she witnessed a terrifying sight. Her daughter was drowning. The child's skin had turned blue. Hastily clutching the baby in her arms, Vernita left her house and quickly got into her husband's car, who was behind the wheel, and they drove to the hospital. The doctor saved her baby. They made it in time. It turned out that she had a severe viral infection. The baby had had respiratory problems and could die. But her fatal destiny changed. If it had not been for the cat, yes, if Midnight hadn't raised the alarm, the baby would most likely have died. The cat saved Stacy, but not only her. It also saved Roy and Vernita. There is no telling what would have become of the parents if after all the effort and trials of life, they had lost Stacy. Stacy spent a few more weeks in the hospital and was completely healed. The girl returned home again, safe and sound. Meanwhile, Midnight continued to be her personal guardian angel. When Stacy grew up, her parents told her about this event. The little girl was simply amazed and couldn't believe it. But she agreed on one thing. It was thanks to the cat that she was now alive. Then Roy and Vernita were invited to a TV interview and told the world in detail how their pet rescued their daughter. And not only a country knew about what Midnight did, but the whole world. Midnight lived in Roy and Vernita's house, but life is not forever. So in his old age, at the age of 14, he took his last breath. The family even made him a small monument next to his grave to remember him always. Midnight will remain forever in their memory and in their hearts. And why not? Also in the people who knew his story. Angels exist, and sometimes they do not have wings, but sometimes they are hairy, have 4 legs, and are so pure that none of us could compare to them. Unfortunately, many of us don't know how to appreciate them. Because if they did, there wouldn't be any angels out there going hungry, cold, sick, and all the dangers of the street. Once Midnight was the one saved, so he paid his debt.